I used to babysit for a family who lived a ways out of town. They had a beautiful house, a couple of great kids, and a really big yard. Beyond the yard were tons of trees. It was just very, very beautiful, and for the most part, it was peaceful and very serene. There were 2 kids, a boy and a girl. They were both sweet and well-behaved. I had babysat for them for about 2 years when this happened. On the night it happened, nothing out of the ordinary happened at first. I came. The parents gave me money for their pizza, and they let me know when they expected to be back. It would be really late, near to 4 o'clock in the morning, but this wasn't unusual for them. They liked to go to parties that went really late into the night. We had our pizza, watched some light TV, and I sent them to bed. It was around 11 when I heard some walking around in the upstairs. It was weird because these 2 kids had iron bladders. They never got up to use the bathroom. I heard some footsteps for a couple of moments, and then it was quiet again. I figured maybe the kids just had to get up for a moment or 2. Then, about 10 minutes after the footsteps stopped, I heard the noise of someone walking again. This time, it was coming down the steps. I noticed the young girl I was sitting for come into the room. She was rubbing her eyes, and she ran up to me. She told me that some man had looked in her room from the hallway. I was only mildly concerned. I mean, as a babysitter, it was something that I would have to check out. But mainly, I thought that this was simply a little girl scared of shadows or has had a bad dream. I checked out the entire house, and of course, there was no one in the house at all. However, even after I confirmed this, she was too scared to go back into her room and sleep by herself. So, I went ahead and let her curl up next to me on the couch and go to bed. About 10 minutes after I had been done checking the house, I heard this loud and blood-curdling human scream coming from outside the house. The boy came running down the stairs shortly after. I had him sit on the couch with his sister while I went to check it out. I was scared as I went outside, but I had to make sure the kids were safe. I didn't think that I could call the police just because I heard one scream. I had the porch lights on, and I walked around to the side of the porch. While I was staring out into the trees, I once again heard a similar scream as the last one. It was coming from out in the trees on the left side of the house. I could feel the hair standing on the back of neck. I was debating whether or not I should check out further what was going on outside or go back in the house. However, while I was thinking about it, I heard another scream coming from the same area. That was enough. I ran in the house and I told the son to call the police and then his parents. I told him I was going to check all the rooms and make sure the house was secured. I gave him a baseball bat and I grabbed a knife without letting the kids see it. The first room I checked was the parents' room and was horrified to find the window not only open, but the screen removed. I closed and locked the window before I heard a fourth scream. I did my best to secure the house. I got back to the kids. They had called both their parents and the police. Both were on their way. We curled up on the couch until they arrived. We didn't hear any more screams. The police didn't find anyone, but I know the house was broken into. It could have been just a prank to scare us. If it was, it worked. I have been sitting on for some 8 years. I went to babysit at a new place. I was a young teenager, and they were like 5 and 7. A girl and a boy. They were sweet and well-behaved until they heard their parents' car leave the driveway, and then they demanded ice cream and said I could have done if I got them some. So I'm eating I'm going to hell cream, and the boy, the older one, comes right up to me and says I hate you, and the bowl falls to the floor. They then take off their clothes and start urinating absolutely anywhere, and the little girl keeps screaming, "Look at my penis." Then they went on the swings until their parents got back. The parents were unmoved by the bowl, the pee puddles, stains, or the fact that their kids were buck-ass naked on their creepy garage swings. When I was 13, my 11-year-old sister and I were hired to babysit a family of 3 kids, 4-year-old girl, 7-year-old boy, and an 8-year-old girl with Down syndrome. This one time, the 8-year-old dumped a giant bag of popcorn on the kitchen floor, and before I could get it cleaned up, the 7-year-old was sweeping by, pretending to play hockey with the broom. I spent 2 hours trying to clean up all of the popcorn, but the vacuum bag was full, and I couldn't find replacements, so there was still a considerable amount of popcorn to be cleaned. When the mother got home, I told her what had happened, and she started screaming at the 4-year-old and 7-year-old. Apparently, the nonverbal 8-year-old had received a bone marrow transplant 6 months earlier, and as such, special precautions needed to be taken because she was immunocompromised. The middle-aged mother had never mentioned any of this to me, and I'd been watching her kids for almost 3 months at that point. But she had expected her 4-year-old and 7-year-old to tell me the household rules, like no sharing snacks. Everyone needs their own bowl. I had babysitting appointments lined up with her for another 2.5 months. But once those were over, I didn't babysit for her anymore. At the time, I was insulted by it. But looking back, all I want to know is why this woman thought a 13-year-old and an 11-year-old were the perfect people to watch her special needs daughter. I was babysitting for a family for the very first time one night. I show up, and as they're walking out the door, they say, "Oh, Ashley is a type 1 diabetic. She was 5. Here's the sugar packets if she crashes." The mom said she had already fed the kids, so we settle in to watch a movie. Halfway through the movie, Ashley doesn't look so good. Then she starts sweating, and I panic, test her blood sugar, and it was low. Call my mom, who is a school nurse, deals with diabetes every day, and halfway scream into the phone on what I should do. She tells me to get juice and try to get her to drink it, and that she's on her way. Thank God for my mother. I get a little juice and a sugar packet in her, because I was 13 and had no clue what I was doing, and my mom shows up and takes over. My mom was pissed they didn't go over anything about Ashley's condition, and that they left a clearly clueless 13-year-old with hardly any instructions with 3 kids. They called a week later for me to watch, and my mom hung the phone up before she could finish asking.
I hope you enjoyed the video. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel for more updates. Thanks.